Hey everyone, I got a sore throat last couple days. It's the 21st of November, 2011, 1:08 a.m. I'll read this, probably sounding like Marv from Sin City. Ellen Stagg's last minute. The conductor announced at Lake Street that the train was going to run express to Fullerton. Rapidly departing riders exited the doors cursing, and those remaining were jostled to new positions, both standing and sitting, and any of this could have contributed to the woman in the maroon boots falling onto the elevated platform 8 miles further north. The second of indecision, a minute of desperation. He had left home earlier than usual that December evening because he always had a planned schedule. Ellen Stagg was a writer, though not a prolific one. Yet for someone who did not work a 40-hour week in a graveyard suit, someone who never needed to watch the clock, he was proud of never being late to an appointment. It didn't matter if he was having a meeting with his agent or having dinner with friends. On this Monday night, he was heading out for the latter. He wanted to beat any potential delay in traffic. He took the 87th Street bus to the Red Line, but he also wanted to get to Fullerton Avenue by 6:45 at the latest. The others would arrive by 7:30 or so. Mike and Darcy would go home from their jobs in the Loop and then head to Clarke's diner refreshed. Ellen enjoyed talking with the waitress, the common cliche, writers, diners, beautiful yet harried waitresses. The bus made stellar time, and he'd stood beneath the heat lamps and watched the passing of trucks swirl thin lines of snow across the Dan Ryan Expressway. The wind was picking up, though it could have just been the result of the sun setting past the tenements behind him. Grabbing a seat toward the center of the second car, he unzipped his jacket and took out the novel he was reading from his backpack. Sipped some water. The book was written by a local writer, J. Bonnet Singer, a tie-in to the Walking Dead TV series, The Rise of the Governor. He was enjoying the book, but by Garfield Boulevard, Ellen was looking out the window and thinking about Kara. It was the waitress's name, Hazel Eyes, the color of Chicago's false dawn on sunny summer evenings. Eyebrows that rose and fell like blonde waves. He again felt stupid because he always thought in abstracts. If he wanted to, there were several people in the train car rather, he could have jotted notes about in his commonplace book. One-sided cell phone conversations, mismatched clothing on an overweight man to keep the cold away from his face and neck. The girl with the maroon boots was the only passenger boarding at Cermak Chinatown. A small girl with a laptop case that was too large for her grasp. She kept shifting it around. During the previous summer, Kara had several strands of hair dangling off to one side of her forehead, and it looked like a pale cobweb. He had wanted to say something to that effect, that she was the only person who could make a cobweb look beautiful, but decided against it. And besides, it sounded idiotic. Yet here he was, still thinking about it. Outside the window, snow had started to fall, sideways because of the wind. Often the case here in the city, exasperated by the vertical speed of the train. And then the problem arose. The train was stopped at Roosevelt, the doors open. In the subway now it didn't matter, no biting gusts of wind, though the warm air had a dank feel. A recorded message said that the train would stop ahead of them and they would be moving shortly. Alan took his analog watch from his pocket. It had no band and the phase was cracked in several places. 5:45 became 6:10 and people descending from the street level continued to pile onto the train. It was loud, like when the Cubs were in town, people pissed off on cell phones, talking loudly and even more pissed off. He had stopped thinking about Kara or the toothless guy with a bag of Doritos directly in front of him. The rum-dum's reflection in the darkened window made him look like a jack-o'-lantern. He was putting the book away, the back cover with the author photo the back cover with the author photo dropping down out of sight as the train jolted forward. A few people cheered, far more grumbled. Ellen again felt mildly pleased that he did not have to be a part of downtown workers, half of whom looked as if they envied the dead. Harrison, Jackson, Monroe, Lake. Then the announcement that the train would be going express, that there was another train running a minute behind them. People moved around like pieces on a chessboard. Someone let out a loud fart out of spite. 6:20 p.m. He'd be able to talk to Kara for a while. There was this one pair of jeans she owned that looked spectacular on her. Made her butt look like reverse commas. Darcy was bringing him a draft of a novel she'd been working on, something he could read alone in his shitty apartment over the coming holiday. He'd geek out and talk with with Mike, mostly about Grant Morrison's work on Batman. The train came above ground near Armitage, and it was a full snowstorm now. Everyone standing wobbled as the car moved back and forth, keeping even with a brown line train as they spread apart at the platform. Ellen always took the second car back at 87th Street because it lined him up with the exit to street level. As the train slowed, he saw hipsters leaning against posts, bare fingers fiddling with smartphones, pale knuckles years away from getting arthritis. Crowds piled out from both trains, some leaving via the stairwell, others rushing from one train to the other for the next connection, as the brown line eventually wove west and north. The red line accelerated first. Within seconds, Alan couldn't separate the train's lights from the track signal lights. If he had been closer to the stairwell, he wouldn't have seen the girl in the maroon boots grab awkwardly for her laptop bag, lose her footing on the ice, and disappear from view to the tracks below. Alan yelled his way back through the crowd, telling people with cell phones to call 911, and he saw the girl below him. She was conscious, still yelling for people to call for an ambulance. He dropped his backpack to the tracks and then followed. He knew it was a 4.5-foot drop because he had measured it once for another rider who needed a ballpark figure. He jumped down from a deserted platform one summer night, noted the height, and pulled himself back up with a rush of adrenaline. He knew he could do this. He recovered quickly and duck-walked towards the girl, pushing his bag and hers as well into an area beneath the platform. Deal with that later. He looked to see no one looking down at the two of them. Looking west, he couldn't even make out how many people were standing on the southbound platform. The girl's face, a tan oval, showed nothing but panic. Ellen had no way of knowing if she was hurt. More than likely, the snow beneath the tracks had acted as a cushion. Her left boot was wedged underneath the rail. He cursed to himself that there was no one to help her lift the girl. All he could do was work at pulling the boot loose. He saw the flakes of snow on his cheek and nose, on the woman's lips and cheeks. He concentrated on breaking the heel of the boot, but his hands were numb and bluish white. Alan didn't ask the girl's name, nor did he offer his own. He could smell the vinyl of the boots, and he could hear the rumble of the tracks. Numbly, he realized that no one would see them. Even if someone's direct line of sight had been on the two of them, he or she would be busy texting or finding out if sushi could be delivered to their dorm or other messages filled with trivial shit, making plans, creating schedules. The woman's foot was slowly coming free. He heard a horn make a sudden blast. People going further away, down Fullerton, stopping at Dominic's, going to High Tops for Monday Night Football. He could see the train's headlights against the woman and her oval face, her eyes closed now, shoulders shaking, brakes shrieking. Not paying attention to the squealing, to the woman's wailing, the woman whose name he would never know, to the sweat on his nose dropping like bullets into the snow, he kept at his task, knowing as always that he had enough time. Wayne Ellis Alley, Burbank, Illinois, 20 October 11. Today is 21st November 11. Coincidence? I think not. Do I sound like Marv from Sin City? I don't know. Maybe I have to be deeper, but that hurts my throat more. Hurts right here, you see. All right, signing off, man.